Have you ever felt like you could be making a way bigger impact at work, but you thought, well, I don't have the fancy titles, so I can't? What if I told you that's just not true? Today, we're going to dig into this really powerful idea that real leadership, it's not about your spot on the org chart. Nope. It's a skill that anyone, and I mean anyone, anywhere in a company can actually build. So let's start with a problem that I think a lot of us can feel in our bones. You know that sense of frustration at work? Or maybe just disengagement? Feeling stuck or like nobody sees your value? Well, it turns out that feeling, it's not just in your head. It is a very real and very measurable crisis. And the data behind this feeling is honestly kind of staggering. A Harris poll found that only 1 in 5 employees is genuinely enthusiastic about their company's goals. Just let that sink in for a second. That means a whopping 80% of the workforce isn't fully bought in. Can you even imagine the amount of talent and potential just being left on the table? It's huge. And this really gets to the heart of it. The problem isn't that we don't have enough managers. As the leadership expert John C. Maxwell put it, if no one is following you, you're not actually leading anything. You're just out for a walk. The real crisis here is a lack of genuine influence, not a lack of job titles. So that brings us to the big question, right? If the need for real leadership is so massive, why aren't more of us stepping up to the plate? What's the roadblock here? Well, as we're about to find out, it often boils down to a few really powerful but totally false ideas that we've all been taught to believe about what leadership is. Yeah, a lot of the time, what's holding us back are these powerful myths, these widespread but wrong ideas about leadership and who gets to be a leader. So, you know what? It's time we busted them, one by one. Okay, the biggest one, the one we hear all the time, is the position myth. It's that belief that you need to be the boss, have the corner office, the big title, to actually lead. But the reality is, leadership has absolutely nothing to do with your position. It's about one thing: influence, period. And influence is something you earn, day by day. It's not something that's handed to you with a business card. Next up, we have the destination myth. This is the whole I'll start leading someday, after I get that promotion. This is such a trap. Leadership is not a destination you arrive at. It's a skill you develop through daily practice. The legendary coach John Wooden said it best. You have to prepare before the opportunity shows up. You build your leadership muscles down in the trenches, not in some future corner office. And finally, there's the influence myth. This is the mistaken idea that a title automatically means people will follow you. It just doesn't. A title, all it does is give you a chance to prove you're a leader. You have to remember this. A great leader brings value to the position doesn't bring value to the leader. Okay, so if we throw all these myths out the window, what's left? This is where this really powerful framework comes into play. It's called the 360-degree leader, and it's an absolute game changer for how you think about your role, no matter where you sit in a company. The idea is actually pretty simple, but it's so profound. It means you can exercise leadership in every direction. You can lead up by positively influencing your own bosses. You lead across by building trust and collaboration with your peers. And you lead down by empowering and lifting up your team. All of a sudden, leadership isn't some spot on an org chart, it's an activity. It's something you can do every single day. Now, this framework is great, but talk is cheap, right? How do we actually put this into practice? Well, let's open up the toolkit and look at some real, actionable principles you can start using literally today to build your influence. And just so you know, these principles aren't just some good ideas I pulled out of thin air. They're drawn from the time-tested wisdom of John C. Maxwell, especially from his work on the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. This is the foundational stuff, the real deal. Okay, first we need to make a really crucial distinction. Are you leading or are you managing? They're not the same thing. As you can see, leaders are all about the big picture, the long-term vision, and inspiring people. Managers, on the other hand, are focused on execution, on getting things done for the short-term goals. A true 360-degree leader knows the difference and, more importantly, knows that to be really effective, you've got to do both. You can't just inspire people. You also have to deliver results. So, where do you start with all this? It all begins with what Maxwell calls the law of solid ground. I want you to think of trust as the absolute foundation of leadership. Without it, everything you try to build will just crumble. And you build it block by block with 3 key things: competence, being really good at what you do; connection, genuinely caring about the people around you; and character, always acting with integrity. All right, let's add a few more power tools to your kit. Ready? First, the law of addition. Constantly ask yourself, how can I add value to other people? Second, the law of connection. Build real relationships before you need to ask for help. Third, the law of buy-in. Always remember, people follow the leader first, and then they'll follow the vision. And finally, the law of empowerment. A great leader isn't afraid of other people's success. They actively work to lift people up. And that takes real security in who you are.
Okay, so we've got the tools to be effective, but what's the next level? What separates an effective leader from a truly great one? Well, for that, we're going to turn to the work of the absolute legend, Stephen Covey.
So years after he wrote his iconic 7 Habits, Covey came back and introduced an 8th habit. He realized that in our crazy modern world, just being effective wasn't quite enough anymore. To really make an incredible impact, we need a whole new mindset, one that unlocks a much, much higher level of contribution. And that right there is the 8th habit. It's a challenge, really, in 2 parts. First, you have to find your own unique voice. And second, you have to use your leadership to inspire every single person around you to find theirs. This is what transforms leadership from just a function at work into a true calling. So what exactly is this voice? Well, Covey says it's that magical sweet spot where 4 things all overlap. Your natural talents, the things you're just good at, your deepest passions, the things that light you up, a real need out there in the world, and finally, your conscience, that little inner compass that tells you what's right. When your work lives at that intersection, you've found your voice, and that's where you'll find your greatest potential. So in the end, leadership isn't a title you just wait around for, it's a choice you get to make every single day. It's about building your character, influencing those around you for the better, and ultimately helping them find their own greatness. And that brings us to this final, powerful thought from John Maxwell, which is really a call to action for every single one of us. What do you want your leadership legacy to be? The time to decide is right now.